are live, at least I hope so. We had a little bit of technical issues. So if you can see and hear us, if we're coming in loud and clear, if you can see our beautiful Leah here, let us, oh, she's on this side. There we go. Let us know. So welcome Thrivers here to our High Thrive Live. We have our incredible Leah Deradorf-Smith, who is going to be guiding our training today. I actually reached out to Leah, and I know that many of you know her. You're aware of her story. Before she came on to work with Mark and I on our restoration equation in our express coaching, she was in a really difficult spot in her relationship. And I'm just going to sum it up real quickly, if that's good, and then we'll jump into what brings us here and how you can really help people. Leah and I were just talking about before this, that it's really about even just helping one person. And Leah can speak from her heart and her experience because her spouse, her husband, was actually leaving her for another woman and did not want to work on the relationship, was completely checked out. And this is when they were just expecting their very first son. So if you can imagine that, these difficult circumstances, and then she came on with us and was working with us, and we showed her how to successfully reconnect with her husband, and now they are doing better than ever. And Leah is showing by example how you can do the same. But we wanted to bring something that was really, really, impactful. And so I asked Leah, what do you feel like is really needed right now? So Leah, which topic did you pick and why did you choose this? Why do you think that this is so needed for our group today?
So the topic that I picked today was finding the motivation to keep going even when it's hard, even when it gets hard, because it's going to get hard and it can be very discouraging. And I have noticed quite a few posts lately where people are trying to find the motivation. They're getting stuck in a rut, and it's so easy to do that and get stuck in your own thoughts and in your own head. So this just really spoke to me because it is something that I struggled with. And because when you are doing it by yourself, at first, it is very hard. You can get stuck in that rut. So it's just about laying down that foundation so that you can keep going even when it is hard.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, we've seen a lot of your comments and your concerns. I don't know if I can keep doing this. It doesn't seem like I'm getting anywhere. My spouse just seems to be completely checked out. They're leaving me for this other person. And so I really appreciate your heart, Leah, to show up and share your experience with us on what we can do to keep that motivation going, even when it's hard, because it's worth it. So what would you say would be one of the first things that someone could do if they're feeling that, if they're feeling like I'm trying so hard, I just don't know if I can keep doing this. I don't know if it's working. I don't know if my spouse and I are ever going to get there. All those different thoughts and fears that go on. What would be like a first step that you would recommend?
So honestly, I would focus on the little ones. Because when you focus on those little wins, it's going to make you feel really good. And that energy is going to help. Not only will that energy help you, but that energy is going to come back to everyone else and everything else. And that's going to help to create positive energy. I would not even look at your setbacks as setbacks. Don't let those setbacks discourage you, because if you let those setbacks discourage you, then that energy is going to go from being up here to coming back down here. And then it's going to be really hard to kind of dig yourself out of that hole that you've been digging yourself out of. So by letting those little wins make you feel great, that's going to help you look at those setbacks differently. So it's about changing your perspective, if you think about it that way. That setback isn't a step backwards, it's still a step forwards, because it's trying to teach you something. So think about what it's trying to teach you, because we're all learning. We all still have things that I'm still learning things. Heather, I'm sure you can speak to it yourself. You're still learning things. We're all continuing to grow. And when we look at it and we change our perspective, we don't look at it as a setback, but as a way to learn and grow. That's going to give you so much more momentum going forward too.
That is so true. I love what you said, that you frame it as, a setback isn't the end of the world. It's really going to be a move forward. So many times when we think about our goals, our intentions, where we want our relationship to be, we think it's just going to be this straight beeline, this straight incline right to the top. And it doesn't look like that at all, right? I was just sharing a live stream earlier in the week, I think, about climbing Mount Powell and how we got to the rock slide. And we were literally clawing our way up the mountain, and it felt like we were making absolutely no progress at all, because it was like this, right? You go up and then you have to come down, and then you're going up and then you're coming down. And that's how it looks like. But what happens, the trap that people can fall into, is when they have that downslide, when they have a setback or something like that, thinking that that's going to be forever, and thinking that that's the only reality that there is. So can you give an example, maybe something, if you are willing to be open and vulnerable about this? I think this would really help people, that we're not just saying these things because they sound nice, but because we've actually been through them, right? So can you give us an example of maybe a time when you had a setback with your husband, and how you were able to turn that around to see that that was actually a win and you're still moving forward?
So one of the setbacks that I had with my husband was honestly a pretty major one, because he went from, because I had like little setbacks here and there, some big ones, some not so big ones here and there when I was in the program. But the biggest setback I had was when, not long after my husband said that he wanted to work on our marriage and said that he wanted to talk to someone, and he started doing his one-on-one coaching with Mark as well. We had, I remember because we were at our family reunion on his family side, and we had just finished a coaching session with Mark, and we went about the rest of our day with his family, and then we got back to the hotel room that night, and he told me that he was still seeing her, and that he didn't want to work on our marriage anymore, that he made his decision, and that he only wanted to be with her. That was very discouraging. That was a huge setback, but it was still telling me something. So it was in that moment that I looked at him and I just asked him, I said, please don't do this. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, this is your decision. If you want to leave us behind, that's your decision. And I can't stop you, obviously, but please don't throw your family away. I can see that you are still struggling, and I understand, and I want to be there for you and help you through this, but I can't be there for you all the time if you're going to be with her. And it was in that moment that I left the hotel room, and I actually went and cried to his mom, because she was down the hall, and she was being there for me spiritually and praying with me and trying to help me get through it. And she went and talked to him, and she prayed over him. And his brother, who has been divorced before, had found out what was going on, and he even talked to him. And after that, he came back. He left her behind. I set boundaries with him, and I mean, what was a huge setback wasn't. It was a step forward, because it helped us discover that there was still something going on, and it helped us connect even more so that we could take it to that next level. And it wasn't long after that that he did leave her for good. And then we set those, and we put more boundaries in place, which allowed us to rebuild trust.
Beautiful. I'm going to highlight that. But learn what the challenge is teaching you. I don't know if I spelled it right. Challenge is. Wow. That's because I'm typing and trying to watch your beautiful face. Learn what the challenge is trying to teach you. Now I'm going to get people criticizing me on Messenger. You don't know how to spell. That's all right. I appreciate that. Awesome. But yeah, that's where the magic really happens, when we can take any situation in life, like instead of cursing it, I was just doing a live stream about that, instead of cursing it, blessing it, and understanding, like you said, that there was something else there. But you could have just called it quits right then, right? You could have just been like, I can't take this anymore. It's too much pain. It's too much struggle. We've come so far. This must not be working. Did you have any of those thoughts come up, or were you in a just different place entirely?
Honestly, I could feel those thoughts kind of start to creep up sometimes, but I recognized it and I crushed it because of the help of the program, with working on your mindset and the meditation every single day. When you work on that and you work on mastering that, when you start to notice it coming up, you're able to kind of stop it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's beautiful. Yeah, we call it a pattern interrupt. And so if you're stuck in that kind of place, if anyone listening to this is feeling those kind of thoughts that just can overwhelm you and completely derail you, understand that they aren't reality, right? That's just a past conditioned behavior, and that you can learn a new way of looking at the situation and a new way of responding. And Leah's done that. And it's always a journey. We're always progressing, and we're going to continue to be challenged, but it's that awareness right there that is so, so key. So I love that. And then you talked about, let's talk a little bit about, you talk about meditating. What about visualizing what you want? Because that's a big key, a big cornerstone that we teach people, is to tap into the power of our own mind and to listen to our inner being, so that we can set aside that story that we've told ourselves. Here's my quotation marks. The story we told ourselves about who we are and how life really is, recognizing that that is not true. So tell us a little bit, what does that help as far as visualizing and really connecting to what you really want?
So it connects to your emotions and your feelings. So when you're feeling really sad, where do you feel that sadness or that anger? It's usually in like the pit of your stomach, where you start to feel really hot, depending on the level that you're feeling it. So when you're focusing on that, that starts to amplify and increase, and then you can feel it over your whole body. The same thing works with visualizing your future. If I can talk correctly today, sorry. Visualizing your future and where you want to go, it's going to do the same thing. So visualize every single day. Set your mindset. Meditate every morning to work on how your day is going to go, how you're going to start your day, starting it with positive thoughts and positive energy, and visualizing where you want to go, what you want that future to look like. Imagine you and your spouse happy, happier than you've ever been. Think about those emotions. Where do you feel those emotions? You feel them in your heart. You can also sometimes feel it in your stomach with joy and excitement. And then just focus on those emotions while continuing to visualize the future that you're going to have with your spouse. And let that take over your body and use that momentum to push yourself forward.
Yeah, that is absolutely beautiful. So it's the Spartans, not, I think I said earlier, the Trojans. Anyway, the Spartans had a saying that he who sweats more in training bleeds less in war. And so part of one of the foundational pieces that we teach you is to do specific training, so that when the challenges come, when it seems like there's a setback, right? When you feel like you're losing momentum, you aren't getting where you want to be with your spouse, then maybe they're pulling further and further away from you. Maybe they're refusing to leave this other person. When those challenges come, you're ready to meet them because you've done the work beforehand. You've developed that strength, you've developed that muscle, and you have that awareness that you can then meet those challenges head on. And you know that you're stronger than them. They cannot defeat you. That is beautiful. All right. So connecting with that, I just want to go over here to a question real quick, and then I'll go to your final thoughts. It's just so beautiful. And if anyone here has a live question for us, go ahead and put it in the comments. But Michelle was asking, why did you want to keep going when he was having an affair? Mine had one years ago and we got through it, but I'm so worried that he is again and don't know if I could do it again. I think that would be the letting go point. So why did you keep going when he was having an affair?
Because I knew we could get through it. I had this feeling, and honestly, it could have been linked. Honestly, it was more than likely linked to all of the meditation that I was doing. But I just knew in my heart that this is what I needed to keep focusing on and working on. And I just knew that my future was with my husband. I love him very, very much. More than anything. I mean, aside from our son, that's a different kind of love. And I knew I couldn't give up without giving it my everything. And at the end of the day, I also knew that if for some reason it didn't work out the way that I wanted, then I could let go, knowing that I did absolutely everything that I could.
That is so, so awesome. So I'm going to put it here as know your why. This is really the heart of the whole thing. We are each here on a journey, and we are each here to be tried and tested and challenged in different ways. And the thing that gets us through that is knowing, why am I doing this? And when it always comes down to is that peace of mind of knowing that I am doing the very best that I can and letting go of the external circumstances. Mm-hmm. I know it sounds odd because we're saying like visualize the external circumstances, visualize it. But what it really is knowing that at the end of the day, I became who I'm meant to be. And then I can look back on my life and I can live it with no regrets. And that right there, I can promise everyone watching, was where Leah's real motivation, where her heart was at. She knew she wanted to fight for her family, fight for her child, fight for her marriage. But beyond that, even if it didn't work out, she wanted to know that she gave it everything that she could so she could live her life with no regrets. That peace of mind right there is priceless. And that peace of mind will go with you no matter where you go and with whomever you go with in the future, right? Leah is brilliant here because she showed us some things that, you know, there's always a reason why the challenges are coming up for us. And if we don't learn the lessons in ourselves and we don't grow from them, if we don't become who we're meant to be, then what's the point, right? We haven't learned from the lesson. It's just going to continue to show up in more and more painful circumstances. So knowing, why am I doing this? Who do I really want to be? And when you can tap into that, who do I really want to be? I want to be a person that can live life with no regrets. I want to be a person with peace of mind. I want to be a person that can have a relationship where I understand how to set healthy boundaries. I think that would really help Michelle here as she's concerned that her spouse might be having another affair, is learning, I want to be a person that can speak my mind, that I can have security and trust. I want to have confidence in myself. I want to feel capable. I want to feel intelligent. I want to live that truth every day. So when you get to that point, then it's not so much about the external results, the relationship, the spouse, and what they're going to do. It's more about becoming who I'm really meant to be. Because at the end of the day, we all know when we live in alignment with who we're really meant to be, the external circumstances, they don't really matter as much, right? Let them be what they're going to be because I'm okay. I am who I'm meant to be. And as I live to that truth, I know that I'm going to start to experience better and better things on the outside. Does that make sense? Does that resonate with you guys? Leah, do you have any other thoughts you want to add in with that?
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's really, yes, I know we're all here to save our marriages, but it's also about saving ourselves because we all fell off of our path and now we just have to get back there. And the meditation, the mindset, the whole program will help you get to where you want to go.
That's awesome. Absolutely. All right. We have some really good questions here. I'm going to refer everyone who's asking a specific question about their spouse having an affair, including this one, how did you make yourself a better option, to the other woman, what helped him see the greener grass. I'm going to refer you to our other interview that we did with Leah in depth, showing exactly how he left the other woman, exactly how she reconnected with him. There are some really great insights there. With our restoration equation. So I'm going to refer you guys to that one just for sake of time. We're really trying to focus on this idea of keeping the motivation strong, keeping the hope alive within yourself. So I'm going to go to one question here. Comment here. I have a question. When things seem to be going okay, and then suddenly you're flooded with painful visuals of what happened and a reminder of the hurt, how did you get out of that and tackle those old feelings reminders? Because that definitely has to do with motivation and our mindset here. Mm-hmm. So what do you suggest with that, Leah?
So it depends on what point you guys are in. When that would happen to me, and my husband and I were working on our marriage and we set those healthy boundaries to rebuild trust, I remained vulnerable and open with him about how he hurt me, what I was feeling, what I was thinking of during that day. And he helped reassure me. Other things when it was happening, When it was just me, it was meditation, catching it and reframing where I wanted to go, not where I'm at currently, but where I want to go. Kind of like climbing Mount Everest or walking through a storm. You might be getting blown in the face, but you're still trying to walk to that door. So that's what you got to focus on. So you got to focus on when you do start getting those feelings, where you want to go, not the misery that you happen to be in right now. It's okay to feel those emotions, but let them teach you. Don't just stay in them. Just let them teach you to help you get to where you want to go.
That is so, so awesome. And anyone who's gone through a challenge, has gotten through the other side, will know that that's it. That's the truth. I know you probably want a magic bullet. You want some kind of potion or love potion or something to just make them magically come back to you. But that is the truth of where it is. I'll just share a quick story. But 4 years ago, as I had just had our baby and was still going through chemotherapy, I was the sickest and the weakest I'd ever been in my life. And I remember getting on the treadmill because I felt that if I could just sweat out some of the chemo, then maybe it wouldn't hurt me so much. Maybe I could overcome the side effects faster. And I love to run. I'm just getting back into running right now, side note. But I couldn't run. I was too weak. I was like, okay, if I can't run, I'll just walk. And so I was just walking on the treadmill. And I remember my hands were shaking because I was on chemical Taxol, which makes you very, very shaky and makes you lose touch in your hands. And so I couldn't even hold my baby for fear of dropping her at the very end of that treatment. So my hands are just shaking and I'm just like sick to my stomach. And I'm like, all right, I just got to keep going. And I listened to an audio on YouTube. And there's a quote there that pain is temporary. This is Will Smith. Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute or an hour or a day or even a year. If I quit, however, or no, I messed it up, or even a year. But dang it, now I lost it. If I quit, however, it will last for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. No. I hate it when I mess up a quote. Sorry, guys. I had it memorized, or even a year. Let's say, but if something else will take its place. That's what it is. I totally butchered that. Now I got to go back to practicing it. And it's true, so that pain is temporary. And when we're in it, we feel like it's going to be forever. And it will continue to last if we continue to believe that, because like has to attract like. And as we're focused on that, it has to grow in our life. So if we're thinking it's always going to be this way or it's never going to work, that is what will continue to show up. So we need to understand that pain is temporary and something else will take its place if we let it. But if we quit, that same pain is going to last forever. If we quit, then that lesson is not going to be learned by us. If we quit, we're not going to learn how to set healthy boundaries. If we quit, we're not going to learn how to communicate. If we quit, we're not going to learn how to be confident and strong and feel that we're worthy of love. If we quit, that's it. That's the end of the story. So how do you want your story to really play out? Like what Lydia said here, know where you want to go and know that you absolutely can get there with consistency and asking better questions and doing the practices that we teach, because they do get you there. They absolutely work 100% of the time to get us where we want to go if we stick with the process and do the work that is required. So where do you want to go? I just leave you with this encouragement here at the end. Where do you want to go? Don't fall to the illusion that this pain is forever. Don't quit, because then you won't learn and then you won't grow and you will stay stuck in it. That's the tragedy, and that's what we all want to avoid. That's why Mark and Leah and I are so passionate about helping other couples to overcome that, is because it absolutely is possible. So where do you want to go? Why do you want to get there? And stay keyed into that, just like Leah did here. So Leah, we so appreciate you. Do you have any kind of final thoughts? What is your final word of wisdom here for us today?
Honestly, I would say my final thought is believe in yourself. You guys are so much stronger than you realize, and you are getting stronger every single day. That belief in yourself, that's going to help get you there too.
I love that. I got to type it in. Keep talking. Believe in yourself. Yes, we are all have infinite potential. I'm stumbling on my words today. Sorry, guys. Anyway, we do have infinite potential, and it is within us, each of us, to live true to who we really are. And sometimes it seems like a funny bumper sticker, just believe in yourself. But it's true. Listen to that quiet voice within, that inner being. Connect with that deeper part of yourself. And you may not be very well acquainted. So I encourage you to get reacquainted with yourself if you're living in the story and the fear and the pain. That's not the truth of who you are. Get to know who you really are, that deep, kind of still, quiet part of yourself that's saying you are worthy, you are capable, you are intelligent, you are deserving of love, and you can get there. Ask the right questions and the right solutions will absolutely come there for you. So believe in that and believe that it can happen for you as well as all of those around you. And as you make positive waves in your own life and as you grow, you will bless and benefit countless, numerous lives of other people. I know Leah's been able to see that. She is witnessing that in her life, that as her and her husband, as first she became strong, she became a rock in her own life. She learned what she needed to learn. She now views life as an incredible opportunity to grow. And even the hard things, and I know you've just had some, I'm not going to go into those, but I know you just had some, even those are opportunities and doorways to even greater things than we could possibly imagine. And as she's doing that, and as her and her husband are becoming stronger, and her husband and her son, that is having ripple effects out there. So be aware that it's not just us and we're not alone. Every decision we make impacts others. So make the very best ones for yourself and all of those that you have the privilege of being in contact with and the privilege of experiencing this beautiful life with. Awesome. I love that. Believe in ourselves with God's strength. That is a beautiful, beautiful comment. We appreciate you, Leah. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your heart and your experiences, that you went through the fire. You've been through this yourself, and others can do it too by following what you've done. So we deeply appreciate you, Leah. Thank you very much. And we will see you next time. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.